Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another MLB trade proposal video. This is a good one, and I know I've said that the last couple, but this is true because what is on the table in this trade proposal is the 2021 Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burnes from the Brewers, the possibility of being traded to the Orioles for their number 4 prospect, Colton Cowser, their number 5 prospect, Jordan Westburg, number 14 prospect, Cade Povich, and right-handed pitcher, Kyle Bradish. This is quite the trade rumor. Again, what I did was I Googled 5 possible trade proposals for 2023. This is number 3 on the list. If you haven't checked out the other 2, go ahead and do so. But this is very interesting, I would say the least, because you are looking at the 2021 Cy Young Award winner. I didn't even know he was on the table to be traded, to be honest, but this is what MLB.com is saying, that Corbin Burnes, the likeliness of him going to the Orioles is, well, at least above the other 30 teams in contention. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about if this is a good idea for the Brewers, if it's a good idea for the Orioles, and again, what my thoughts are here at the end. So let's get right into it. I already mentioned the trade. Corbin Burnes, let's talk about him. He is 27. He is, like I said, the 2021 Cy Young Award winner. He's an all-star the last 2 years. He gets Cy Young Award votes every year. This last year, 2022, was a pretty good season as well. Started 33 games, went 12-8 with a under 3 ERA, 2.94. That's really, really good. Threw over 200 innings, had 243 strikeouts, which led the league, and also had a whip under 1. I mean, that's a great season, especially following up his Cy Young Award season. Ironically, like, those numbers are a little bit better in my opinion, outside of a few like ERA plus. He had a 134 this year instead of a 170 last year. Like, he was still very, very competitive with his numbers from 2021, but he got 7th in Cy Young Awards this year. Anyway, I digress. Point being, he was still a 4-WAR player, and he is definitely an ace somewhere, right? Probably not, I guess, for like the Mets or the Rangers, like we already talked about with Verlander and with Jacob deGrom, but for the Orioles, yeah, this is a player that would make an immediate impact. I mean, as soon as he starts, he's the day one starter. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Orioles don't have a ton of great pitching. If you haven't seen my Jake Odorizzi video, I think, or maybe it was Kyle Gibson. I think it was Kyle Gibson. Both of them played for the Twins. I know we've done videos on both of them. Let me just Google this quick. Orioles starting rotation, just so I can get my bearings straight. I should have had this pulled up. It was Kyle Gibson that I was talking about, but this is their rotation. John Means, who is, their ace, I guess. He had Tommy John, I think, last year, if my memory is serving me correctly. You've got him. You've got Gibson, Bradish right now, Kramer, who's okay, Wells, who okay. Like, none of these guys are superstars, right? Sure, they can fill in. I mean, they do well. Orioles is a big park now, but nobody's a superstar. You put in Corbin Burnes, I mean, you're already on the edge of the playoffs. This might help you, flip the switch and get over that little hump that you are on the cusp. I mean, the Yankees, on paper, are probably not as good as they were last year. The Blue Jays, I guess, have made a little bit of a stride towards that. The Rays are always good, but the Orioles were knocking on the door. The Red Sox are no longer in the picture. Like, you will at least finish 4th in the AL East, but I think 1 or 2 good signings could really help them get over that hurdle and compete. I don't know if they win the AL East, but they compete and maybe get a wild card spot. Like, that's, I think, the goal for the Orioles right now. And I think if you have a player like Corbin Burnes, that helps. And if you're looking at somebody like Corbin Burnes, or if you are Corbin Burnes, you are playing on a Milwaukee team who doesn't have a clue what they're doing right now. They traded Hader to the Padres. They lost their other closer, who they traded from the Padres, which was Rogers. Like, they don't have a ton of talent anymore. Yelich is not who he used to be. That's about it. Is it Rowdy Tellez, I think, who is honestly one of their best power hitters right now? Where did he come from? Right? You know what I'm talking about? They don't have a clear direction. At least the Orioles are trying to go up. The Brewers, I don't know. I don't know. If you're a Brewers fan, let me know. But really, I think the Brewers need to start over. Especially if they don't want to start over, that's fine. But they don't need Corbin Burnes. He's got 2 years left on his contract, which I will talk about, that I think makes an impact on this trade. But he's got 2 years left on his contract. I don't see Milwaukee making moves to compete. I mean, like, they were a wild card team. They were actually the leaders in their division for a long time. Then they were a wild card team, and then they obviously slowly faded out of that. Of course, trading Hader probably didn't help, but they just sort of declined. And does that make sense to keep a player like Corbin Burnes, again, who's under contract for 2 more years, when he's a candidate right now, arguably the best starting pitcher, I think, on the trading block? I talked about Pablo Lopez in the last video. Arguably, I think Corbin Burnes being a Cy Young Award winner is a little bit better. He's in his prime. He's a good pitcher. If he goes somewhere, he's going to make an impact. If you keep him, what are you doing? So now on the flip side of that, let's talk about the prospects. I mean, you're getting 2 top 5 prospects who are both non-pitchers, which does make a little bit of a difference, I think, for this trade. You're getting 2 non-pitchers. Cade Povich is your highest-ranked pitcher as a prospect at number 14, GBR, Go Big Red. He was a Nebraska person, a baseball player there, so that was cool. But I guess you are getting Kyle Bradish. But see, if you look at this from a purely paper standpoint, and you say you're getting Corbin Burnes for Kyle Bradish and then a bunch of players who may or may not pan out, like, again, it's not straight up, but Corbin Burnes for Kyle Bradish, that is the trade. That is the trade that you are guaranteed for a major league pitcher to a major league pitcher. That doesn't seem like it'd be a great trade for the Brewers. Now, if you do value non-pitchers, like, and the reason I am about to say what I'm about to say is because you're giving up a Cy Young pitcher for potential talent not at the pitching position. I don't think Cade Povich is going to be a Corbin Burnes. I don't think Bradish is going to be a Corbin Burnes or even come close to that level. So you are giving up your superstar pitcher for 2 guys who will play a position that you are not trading for directly. Now, if they pan out, if every single one of these players pan out, and that's an if, that's with every single trade, obviously why they make these trades, then I think you're okay, because you do get a good pitcher in Povich. You do get Bradish, who at least fills in the gaps. And again, Milwaukee not trying to win the division, I don't think, anymore. The Cubs are even, I think, making advances toward winning the division more so than the Brewers right now. The Milwaukee is like, at least the Cubs went out and signed Dansby Swanson, right? So at least from a player perspective, I can see the Orioles making the trade if they can make a push in the next 2 years. This is where I'm going with this. If they can make a playoff push and really go all in the next 2 years, I think that is a possibility. If not, because, you know, Adley, Rushman is young. Gunnar is young. These guys are not going to be superstars yet. And they probably won't be superstars like an Aaron Judge level, Mike Trout, right? The potential that they have, they won't be there for a couple of years, right? They're young guys, 20 years old, right? They will take a few years, 4 years, 5 years to fully go into their potential. And Corbin Burnes is probably not going to be an Oriole if this deal happens in 4 or 5 years, unless they want to sign him to a major deal, a big 6-7 year deal. And I don't really see the Orioles doing that. I mean, they let Machado go. They really tried to start over, and I don't think they're going to sign a Corbin Burnes when they could sign somebody else in a few years who will be that franchise player. I don't see Corbin Burnes being that here. But if they want to make a push in the next 2 years, I say at least go for it. Like, you're giving up some talent, but you do have Gunnar. You do have Rushman. You do got Corbin Burnes, if this trade goes through, where you have the biggest pieces, I think, that can make impacts, and then go sign a guy at the trade deadline, right? Like, that's when you make your push. You're not too concerned about your prospects. If you're the Brewers, I think you do go full rebuild mode, and I don't think this is a bad trade if that's the case. You're getting a pitcher, at least MLB quality in Bradish. You're getting another good prospect in Povich. You're getting 2 other position players. Again, if you're not worried about the straight up swap on the pitching for position players, you're getting 2 top 5 prospects one at each position, outfield and infield. Garrett Mitchell's obviously pretty good. So you've got some talent there that is very, very young. They just don't seem to be quite the players and at the same place that the Orioles are at right now. I think that's the biggest thing. Orioles are slowly headed this direction. Brewers, especially at the end of last year, are slowly kind of going down and flattening out. So I would say do this trade. I really would. But that's just my thoughts. Again, it depends if you're an Orioles fan here. Do you think long term, or do you think you can make the playoffs and make a push in the next 2 years with Corbin Burnes, unless you want to sign him to an extension? But I kind of like this deal. I think it'd be cool to see Corbin Burnes in black and orange. So I would say yes, but that's just my opinion. I'd love to know yours down in the comments below. If you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 4,000 by the end of this year. So like 6 days. Help me do it. And we'll see you next time. Peace.